Hello, Raptors, and welcome back to another episode of Raptor Chain Reaction. My name is Paul Mills from Raptoreum Core, and here we have Hunter Schultz from what do you do again? What do you do again? You're the head of production. That's
We're
it.
so happy. We are so happy we've forgotten what we do around here. And we have a good excuse. We have a very good excuse. I'm the head of production and general badass. But
Yes, General Badass. You can check on the website about that. That's
yes, that's
true.
there, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Why are we smiling, Paul? Why are we giddy? Why are we giddy with excitement?
I mean, have you seen the news? Like, we only just released assets or assets code. You know what I mean? That's huge, and I'm so pleased. So pleased. It's it's brilliant.
We're all smiling for a lot of different reasons. Yeah. You know, it strikes me that over the past, let's say, year, and it's typical in any successful enterprise. You overcome challenges, you persevere, you keep at it, and you grind it out because a lot more people have tried and failed because they didn't grind it out. A long time ago, my dad wrote an article called "Yes, the Crowd May Be Wrong." And it was about all the people who laughed at Fulton, at these great inventors, Edison, Madame Curie. They were laughed at, they were ridiculed. And now, of course, it's a whole different story. People laughed at Westinghouse when he said he wanted to stop a train with air. Huh? What? So assets are here, and I've been kind of reviewing some of the comments over the past year or so. People saying, you know, it's dead, Jim, that kind of stuff. It can't be done.
Yeah.
You know? So what was it about assets that couldn't be done that we did it?
I think that part of it was the fact that people didn't understand that we wanted to do the right thing, and by the right thing, by what I mean in that is we wanted to make sure that it was solid code. We wanted to make sure it was tested again, triple tested, checked with the community, sent back out again, checked again. We wanted to make sure it was solid and just a good product at the end of it. And so a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space are very short-term minded. You get a lot of traders in the space, and if they're not making money, if they're not making 10x by tomorrow, or if a project doesn't release number one crypto status a product then by tomorrow, then they're not interested. You know what I mean? So people have got a very short term span of concentration on anything to do with cryptocurrency projects. So you get a lot of people who will spread FUD, a lot of naysayers that saying you can't do it, and and we've done it.
Yeah, the dev team seemed to have taken the naysayers who said it couldn't be done and said collectively, hold our beer, hold our beers, you know. Yeah. So now that it's done, there's the old saying, beware what you want because you may get it. Well, now we got it. Now what? I mean, we've got token 2449 coming up, which is a big deal.
2049.
2049. Yeah. Sorry, token people. What? This is so heartening, and it's also an affirmation of the roadmap and why things were done the way they were. That now that we got it, what's next? And I'm not talking technology, but I'm talking about for Raptoreum, the blockchain, and the community. What's next? What's kind of how is this going to change things?
Well, I think you can divide it up into a few different things. The first thing is now the community can be more involved from a project standpoint or a social standpoint in the new ways that assets bring use cases in a social setting, such as that Tree will be adding tree, the lead developer, sorry, will be adding assets to the Stacy bot where people can, soon they'll be able to receive assets in Stacy, and it'll bring a totally new angle to the whole community driven approach at the Discord. People will be sending and receiving all sorts of strange assets and images and whatever, all through the Raptoreum blockchain, with the absolute ease of the Stacy wallet, which has been extremely popular and now features on many servers. Another aspect of it is the business and development aspect of it, which is people can now build on the chain using the new assets code. And when I say build, I'm talking about they can tokenize, as I've mentioned on the release, they can tokenize cars, real estate. They can build NFTs. They can do like staggered releases of assets. So there's a run of assets that people are excited about. They can stagger them out over time, fully automated through futures. The use cases are absolutely endless, really. They could even use futures to pay for subscriptions on like mining contracts and things like that. And there's a lot of apps that can be built around all of this, which is why we thought it was a good idea to build the community apps channel at the Discord. Then there's the whole business or company side of it, as me and Hunter have been pushing on, especially with some of these Raptor ChainReaction videos, and onboarding onto the assets chain, especially master assets. We can actually really push forward and go ahead and do that, and actually show these companies the end result, and how to attach things to their assets, and how that makes their assets immutable and secure, and what that matters to a company in the future, especially in this digital world.
Good summary. I think also the space itself is going to have to recognize what Raptoreum represents, because it is a quantum leap forward from what I see. And that's my opinion. But technically, I don't see a lot of other chains out there doing what Raptoreum does, especially on how it does it. Well, with security and redundancy and...
Well, that's right. I mean, a lot of these chains out there that have assets on their chain or on their layer 2 or whatever, they are generally EVM based, and as we've mentioned many times, that's no secure way of running assets, especially when you're deploying and creating assets and minting assets, whatever, especially with risky smart contracts. But we're not going to dip into that. This is why we built Raptoreum. This is the sort of direction that we wanted to go in. We wanted to really revolutionize UTXO assets, and by UTXO I mean Bitcoin based. And we really wanted to show the world that this can be done in a way that is accessible to many, and also easy to use and easy to deploy. And by doing it in this way, we can gain a lot more trust in companies, which will further the blockchain, hopeful mass adoption into the future. I think there's a lot of businesses, companies or whatever out there that are still a bit dubious about integrating into a blockchain setting, especially with the options that are currently out there on Ethereum and Sol and things like that, and all the rugs and all the security implications that might bring into an insurance setting. But we aim to mitigate that by pursuing the direction that we've been building.
You said something a few seconds ago about people looking at blockchain with a kind of a, I'm not so sure. Well, last week's show actually provided some affirmation and validation from none other than the California DMV, who's using blockchain to put 42 million car titles on.
That's right, yeah.
Which we've little red warning flag, folks. This may not end well. They probably won't.
Hope it works for them.
But,
hope it does.
Yeah, well, so, but that is some of that affirmation is it is starting. And we were originally going to do this week's show on family offices, which are, hopefully some of the people who've been holding Raptoreum long enough will need them in the future. Not financial advice, do your own research.
That's right, yeah.
So family offices, it will be next week instead of this week, because we now know for sure that assets are here.
Yep.
And it's truly time to celebrate not only the developers and the leadership and the marketing and technical side, but also the community that has stood by the project and the people. And it has not been easy. It definitely has not. But we do want to say, thanks a lot for the support. It's truly, it really has been terrific. So next week will be family office and how they can evaluate crypto and blockchain, really, because it's not the coin, it's the blockchain. So, and there you are. Unless you want to say something further. And
I don't know what to say. I've still got assets in the mind, you know what I mean? I've still got all that in the mind. Everything's going well. Everyone's talking about assets. Everyone's just so pleased that it's out now, and it's so difficult for me even to talk about family offices right now, or yes. So it's I'm just lost for words, to be quite honest with you. And again, as Hunter said, so pleased for the team and everything around the project and all the people involved and the community supporting us, and it's just brilliant. Nothing else to say.
So there you are.
And there we are. A big thank you for everyone that's tuned in for this week's Raptor Chain Reaction episode on the Assets Code. It's been a pleasure to bring this to you. As you can see, we're very excited for what's coming for the project, and so should you be. Simple as that.
Cheers.
Cheers.